Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Nicole with Made from Scrap, and I am going to do a quick walkthrough of my mini notepad holder album. This is a one-page album. It is very quick construction. It measures 6 inches wide by 8.5 inches tall, and it has a 1-inch spine. So I was able to use one sheet of medium weight chipboard for the construction of this. I used 6 sheets of natural linen Artisan cardstock for wrapping the album, the page, the pockets, and I even had some left over for some of the photo mats inside. Then I've used a sheet of brown Artisan cardstock for layering here. I think I used 2 sheets of brown Artisan cardstock. And I had 1 sheet of the classic cherry color, my colors, cardstock that I used for layering the signature piece from the Little Things Graphic 45 paper collection. This is from the 8x8 paper collection that I've used here, and a little bit of twine from my stash. So this is the front cover, this is the spine, and then there is the back side of the album. So when we open this up, I have the flap on the left-hand side, and you can see that I've done some matting on some of the paper, just layering it up here to create a photo mat on it. This will open up again, and you'll see that you have this good-sized pocket here, some additional paper piecing. You have another photo mat with one of the border strips. I just cut down the border strip from the collection. Here is another border strip that I only glued the sides and bottom of it so that I could use it for a little tuck spot for some of these cut aparts from the collection. And then this is how the second sheet, I have 2 spots where I've used that second sheet of brown Artisan cardstock in here. And the leftovers are what I used to create the photo mats. So here is the one page that makes this an album. So I wanted to leave this pretty paper open to take a look at. And then I've used some enamel dots in this album for decoration. That is from my stash. And we have a side-loaded pocket here. So again, I just created a couple little photo mats here, little booklets. And those are the some additional cut aparts from the collection there. And then this will open up yet again. And some of the leftover paper here. And I've went ahead and layered this up on some of that linen Artisan cardstock. Glued it only on the 2 sides so that I could use it as a tuck spot here. When you flip this page over, you see I used some of that Artisan cardstock just for decoration, and then some additional enamel dots here. And then this is the large pocket, the tall pocket, so that you can stick one of those 5x8 notepads in. It's obviously interchangeable, so when you use it up, you can put another one in. And I think this would be darling for Christmas gift, maybe planning for your Christmas gift giving, perhaps your Thanksgiving meal that you'd be planning, any type of party coming up, or just a notepad for journaling and photos. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I look forward to seeing some of your projects using this tutorial, and let's get started. Thanks everyone for watching. Until next time, happy crafting you all. Bye. Thanks for joining me everyone. I'm going to get started with the lay flat binding method. So here I am going to just cover my chipboard pieces using my spacers that are available from Country Craft Creations. I'm going to make sure to burnish around the edges of my chipboard really well and cut out the corners for my cover pieces and spine. Then I'll go ahead and wrap that top and bottom piece of the spine and all four sides of the covers, the front and back. I'm using my art glitter glue. If you're getting low on your art glitter glue, you need to hurry up and get some additional art glitter glue ordered from Country Craft Creations. So here I'm just using that glue in order to put together my album cover. And just like that, it's done. Now I'm moving on to the hinge piece. So with 4 inches at the top, I'm going to score at 1 3/8, 1 1/2, 2 inches, 2 1/2, and 2 5/8. What this will do once I burnish really well is it'll provide me a 1/2 inch flap for my page to be attached to, and then I'll have an additional 1/8 inch portion that the page is not on that will allow my page to turn a little better and give some space in the album. This is just the one page. I'm trying to work this back and forth. This is the linen cardstock, and it is so good, but you can see where that 1/8 inch additional gusset is from the hinge. So I'm going to glue this section together. And remember, even the 1/8 inch gusset will be glued together. But make sure you fold back the flaps that are not supposed to be glued together so that you still have something that you'll use to attach to your album. So those 2 wings are what we are going to go ahead and use to attach to our album. So really work those score lines so you get your hinge very pliable. That's what I'm doing here. Make sure that your hinge is very straight so that it's not coming apart. So you can see there, I'm trying to make sure that the hinge is glued together where it should be. Okay, now I'm going to move on and I'm going to attach this hinge right to the album. So again, I'll use my art glitter glue, place that on the spine, make sure that I have it even on either side of the spine piece, and then I will lay that down. Make sure to burnish really well and wipe off any excess glue that comes out. I'm just burnishing this down to the spine piece. And then you can see that I'm using my bone folder to go ahead and press that flap that's left into that gusset between the cover of the album and the spine. That's just training the paper to go into that indentation. That's what that does. And then I will glue the rest of the flap down. So you can see on this other side, I'm doing the same thing. And now with that, you have your 1 album hinge attached to your cover. So now we will move on to the next step. Doing a quick measurement, trying to figure out where I wanted my pocket to be. I want this to be a taller pocket. So I'm going to take a sheet of 12 by 12 and I'm going to cut this down, and that back pocket measures 7 by 6. So stick that piece of cardstock now in your scoreboard with the 7 inch at the top, and you're going to score it at 1/2 inch and 6.5 inches, or you can just turn it around and score it 1/2 inch on either side. And then on the 6-inch side, you're going to score at 1/2 inch also. So you should end up with 3 sides that have a 1/2 inch score. And then we're going to cut out the corners from that pocket. I was just doing a little dry fit there to make sure that the sizing is correct and what I want. I'll place a little glue on the bottom of the side flaps, and then I'll burnish down the bottom flap on top of it. This allows the pocket to be fully utilized all the way down instead of catching on a lip. I'm just figuring out what paper I want to use for that back cover. Little trick that I use. I rarely do any measurement for my paper. I usually use a pencil and just do a little marking and then go ahead and stick it in my trimmer and trim. That's for the decorative paper. So now I'm ready to glue the pocket down. I can make that flush with the bottom and with the outside of that back cover. Leave any space that you have open to towards the spine, and that will help with your album closing. I'll go ahead and stick the decorative paper in, and then we are ready for our notepad. So you go ahead and tear these apart from each other. And then you can just slide that chipboard piece backing right down in that pocket. And just like that, we have a fabulous album that we can work with. And now we're going to move on to the flap, inside flap. So that's an 11.5 inch piece of paper by 8 1/4. And you're going to score that on the 11.5 inch side at 1/2 inch and 6 1/4 inches. And then we will glue that 1/2 inch flap down to the inside of our front cover so that the flap opens up towards the left or outwards. Now we're going to move to the one page that we have in the center of the album, and we're going to use that base center page 1, which measures 5.5 by 8 1/4. And then we're going to use the base center page 2, which measures 3 3/4 by just over 9 1/4. So by measuring that page out to be just slightly larger than 9 1/4, when you fold down your 1/2 inch flaps on either side, you should be left with your full 8 1/4 inch measurement. And that way you can slide this onto your hinge easily. Just like that. So we're doing a little dry fit. And then I'm going to simply place a bead of glue underneath that flap and burnish that down to the hinge. I'll turn it over and do the opposite side. And now we have our page on. And this is going to be a pocket page, so we're going to move on to the next flap, and that's the base flap that measures 10 3/4 inches by 8 1/4. I'm going to go ahead and score on the 10 3/4 inch side at 1/2 inch and 5 3/4. Now you're going to see me here just figuring out, did this page, is it too long or not? But the measurement I just gave you is the finished measurement after I made my adjustments. So I was just making a little adjustment off screen there, and now I have that 10 3/4 inch page. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this flap down now to the outside of our one page that we just made, and so that it opens, and it opens outward. Okay. Now I'm doing the measurement for the front cover pocket that measures 6 3/4 by 3 3/4 inches. And then you're going to score a 1/2 inch on 3 sides so that you make a pocket. Again, burnish all of your score lines and cut out the squares. Then again, I'm going to fold in the side scores. Do a little dry fit there, and then fold up the bottom. This way it gives you the full depth of the pocket again. So go ahead and glue that on. And when you glue this on, you want to be away from any of your score lines that are the hinges for either your flap or your album page. So try to center this pocket up. Okay, now you have your page and your pockets and your notepad. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Until next time, happy crafting, you all. Bye.